my goodness. Let's have a cheers. Cheers to
I
us.
love it. I feel so official. Woo!
We have our own
Cheers.
little intro.
I know it feels like the real deal.
Oh my goodness. So this
I
is
love the
episode
pictures.
2.
Woohoo! What?
I said so. You said
Hold.
woohoo, what? I said so. This is
Turning up my
episode
volume.
2.
Yes, episode 2 officially kind of like episode 1, but you know,
How are you? How was your
we're
week?
a
What
little.
have you been up to? What's going on? Let's do this. Let's talk about where'd you go? Who'd you see? What'd you do?
So we're gonna skip the whole intro.
Let's start with our intro.
This is it's becoming a problem that you keep drinking before we start. I'm concerned about you. It's a pattern.
Okay.
All right, so um basically the intro of who we are for anybody that's watching that doesn't know who we are already. We know who we are. Most of the people watching know who we are anyway. But let's talk about how we met. How long have we been friends? Like what's our story?
A lifetime. A lifetime. Truly. I've known you for longer than I haven't known you, which I always like to point that out and think about that. It was 1999.
The
And I
days.
moved from Miami to Clewiston, Florida, and you were working with my mom. And
I was.
and I thought you were old.
You did. Yeah, you had me associated with like an old person just because I worked with your mom.
Yeah.
And I had you associated with just this bratty, annoying, just basically who you really are today as well. Like you stayed true to that.
One of us was right. No, but
So
like
how
you know
long did
what
it
it is
take you?
at that age. So you had a 1 year old, right?
I
Jackie.
had a 1 year old. Jackie was a year old.
So
I
so
wasn't
you
pregnant yet with Joey.
right. So like I'm how old am I? 13. I'm looking at you. You work with my mom. You have a kid. Like you're my mom's people. You're not my friend. Like I'm like, ¿qué sé
I
yo?
started early.
I was like, girl. So then a few years later, fast forward, like we knew each other, we would always do stuff together, whatever. But we were talking. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was at Anna's house when the revelation happened. We were at our friend Anna's house, and we were talking about like we were playing for the cancer walk, and we were talking about prom. And you said, "Oh, I never went to my prom," and I'm like, "How old are you?" And I swear that was the first moment that you. I mean, you're not that much
I
older
think
than me,
I think it had happened at some point, but even before your prom, because I did all of your high school experiences with you.
but that was
Um, I
moment like.
did, I did your prom. I did your talent shows. It was so funny. I was like super involved in your high school senior year. Um, and I not only was I
There's a
not a
lot of footage.
student, I was like 20, I think. It was so funny. You gotta love small towns, people. This will not happen in Miami or Orlando and bigger cities. Like they'd be like stranger danger. No, they were like, come
Completely. Like, ma'am, are you trying to chaperone? You're like, no, I'm trying to go to the party.
on, I want to hang out with them. It was great.
But I truly remember so vividly that moment where you're like, oh, I never went to my prom. And I was like, how old are you? Like, I was confused because I was like, you were still in the mom box, even though we were doing stuff together. And so at this point, it was like junior year going into senior year. So
Yeah.
how old was Jackie? 4? So,
No, she was 2 or 3, because Joey, she was, well, yeah, she was probably like
no.
3. She was probably
Yeah.
like 3 or 4. Yeah, you're right. I
Anyways,
remember.
at that point, we ended up going to prom together. And those pictures are in the vault because I went
I've
as
been told I'm not allowed to share pictures where he has hair.
yeah, that's how you know it's too old to share. Because if you, I mean, believe it or not, I had a lot of hair. I had poofy hair. Picture this: a round fat boy with round glasses with round hair. I'm like, who hated me? Why did people let me do?
I met you like that. That is not my fault.
No, yeah, but we aged like wine. We did good.
Yeah,
Well, I
it
did.
was it
So
was fun. I have always been super appreciative of the experience of being able to live my senior year through you guys, and that was so awesome because a lot of people don't get that chance, and I did, and I am so grateful because thanks to that, I feel like I got a little bit back.
Fugi, I remember you were like, no. I was like, oh, so go with me to my prom. And you were like, no, I'm sure you have somebody. And I was like, no, I don't.
Well, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that, but
I
I
was like,
did,
please do that. And
and I loved it.
because you went, we got to rent the party bus, go down to
Yeah.
Miami. We got to rent the hotel. Because if you weren't there, I
Yeah,
was
I was like
17.
the adult that everybody would do everything, like under me, and that was great. And that was a whole other. That's a whole conversation for a whole nother day. Thanks to Anna and Joelle, but we'll get to that another day. But it was great. It was fun. Here we are, 22 years later, 22, 23 years later,
A lifetime.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's basically, we're stuck, we're family, and that's just, sometimes your soulmates come in different forms in this lifetime, and you have to know how to recognize them. So at a very young age, you knew how to find one, and I was lucky for it.
Oh, thank you. I was lucky as well. We refer to each other as Pookie. We refer to each other as my person. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, like we are each other's person. Like it's just we just get it. We just get each other.
Yeah.
We get it. And like last week we were doing a big like celebrity coverage, but like we were like these people probably don't even know who we are, and that's why we wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit and just
Yeah.
know like we have done life together. And a lot of the conversations we have, we're like, man, this is good. Like other people would like to get in on this, and that's why we thought like let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
just have our conversations and show it to people. So that's what we're doing.
A little bit nicer because I normally don't put makeup on to talk to you.
What are you talking about? And by the way, I love your fireplace.
Isn't it amazing? Oh, it's on this side. Isn't it amazing? I mean, it's only like 99 degrees
I've
here.
never seen someone need a fireplace in Miami, but
It's
it's good.
beautiful.
It's
Between the
beautiful.
fireplace and my lights, I'm roasting in here.
Do you like my loft?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mention yours.
And now you know why I drink on the show.
Yours is great. It's beautiful. You have an upstairs, a downstairs. It's very simple,
Yeah,
clean, classic. I love it.
crisp. It's crisp.
That's what it is.
Oh my goodness.
All right, silly. So now you can go into. You were
We're
so
still
excited
we're
before.
gonna Oh, so I will tell you this, and I'll share more later. This weekend, I really didn't do a lot. I actually rested a lot at home, which is rare for me. Anybody who knows me knows I struggle with that. So I'm gonna share a little bit about that later. But it's been a really fun week. Thinking about what we were gonna put on this show and how we were gonna keep conversations going. I will say this: just by having this little project, I never thought of how many people are involved in producing and writing and planning a show. And yeah, this is why the view is every day because there's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about. We'll start like kind of brain dumping, like, oh, things that we just were talking about. And then when we sit down and we're like, all right, so what do we want? It's like, well, no, we cannot have a 5 hour show. This is not going to work.
Yeah,
And then stuff that's like, well, this is not relevant anymore. This happened like 6 days ago versus this one just happened like 3 days ago.
we go cutthroat.
Cutthroat.
Stop it. Not going to make it to the show. Production floor. Goodbye. And
I
so, of course,
can't
it was
even.
Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers that we love. I had a really good week. I had a really nice Mother's Day. It was really chill, which I am enjoying so much more these days, just the simplicity of everything. And we did. We cooked. My mother-in-law cooked some yummy food, and we got some little sandwiches, and we were out by the pool, and we just relaxed. And the kids came over, and we had family come over, and it was just really nice. I really enjoyed it. I had wonderful gifts. I got flowers. I had a little rose teddy bear. I had a little
So cute.
jewelry box that was made for me. So what else can a mom ask for? It was a wonderful day spent with family, which for me is always like number one thing to do. I will choose spending time with my family over anything else any day.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and I have a great family, so it's like it's a
So,
win-win.
so because
So
we're talking about Mother's Day,
yeah, let's speaking of mothers that we want to love on and give some recognition to, mothers that we love, but it's not the mothers that people are going to think it is. It's actually our TV moms. Well, that's me now too. Is that the mom that you picked?
that's not what it. One moment, it's TV moms.
Wait, I like me too. I am a mom on TV now. So yes, my absolute favorite mom that I love, and this is just my all-time favorite. Like my kids will tell you, my daughter loves this movie. We watch it all the time. Is Diane Keaton as Daphne Wilder on Because I Said So. This movie is such a gem. If you have not seen it, go out and watch it. Like, find it. I don't know where. Like, I'm sure Amazon has it. It's an oldie, but it's such a goodie. She is such an amazing powerhouse mom. And she is just so devoted to her kids, and she loves her daughter so much. And she has this amazing relationship with them. And one of my absolute favorite quotes that I use till today, and you know it, you've gotten me gifts with it. We talk about it all the time, and it's she says in an argument that she's having with the girls where she's like driving them crazy. And she's like, this is the most impossible love. To be a mother is the most impossible love. When does it stop? When does the caring stop? When do you put that barrier of allowing them to just go head on something that is not going to be good for them? And I tell you, this is my absolute favorite. I love her. I love her character. She's hilarious. I just wish that I can like hug her, because I think she is like an amazing mom,
We've
and
watched
she's
that
my
movie
baby.
so many times. Like,
Love
it
it.
never gets old. And she
No,
gave me like polka dots.
I listen, everything about her, just the way she dresses, her humor, the crazy stuff that she does. Like, she's following her daughter on a first date because she doesn't know who she's going out with, and she's scared for her. Like, everything she does, I'm like, this woman, like, I love her so much. I love her.
So you will follow your daughter on a date. We understand.
Absolutely.
And in moms that I love, I didn't share this with Pookie. I wanted to see her reaction, so I couldn't pick just one. So I love the mom from Mean Girls because she's a cool mom, not a regular mom. I think she's so funny.
She's so
I
crazy.
was between her and Home Alone slash Schitt's Creek mom, but I love her so much. And then I love the moms. I very
So you basically cheated because you have like one, two, three, four. You have like four moms.
I have all the moms, but I love, let me just share real quick. I love Miranda and Charlotte as moms because they were so authentic about how hard it is to be a parent. They all had breakdown moments and reality. Like, and I think that's so important to moms to know that, like, you're not going to have all your shit together at all times and it's difficult and you need your friends, like the ones in the picture. I love it. But my ultimate mom I love, of course, is no other than my
Aww.
Pookie. There is no better mom on this earth. I have seen her be a mom since she was 16 years old. And I have been blessed and so lucky to be a part of this family. These kids, I used to say they were my kids, and it's like I'm their uncle, I'm their auntie, I'm their bestie, I'm all the above, and I love it. And I couldn't imagine my life without this family. It's my family. I love you guys so much. But what I love most is that she is what I think I would do for my kids. She is unapologetically loving about them, and she will love them and they love her. They're great kids. They're an image of her. I could go on forever. I love all of these people in this picture, and I couldn't say moms I love and not talk about you. So sorry, had to do it. It is what it is.
Well, thank you. I love you. That's awesome. Thank you. And we love
So
you. And I can't talk about this because I'm going to mess up my makeup.
take a sip.
That'll make it worse. I'm an emotional drinker.
By the end of it,
I'm going to be like, oh,
and that third picture you showed.
oh my God. Aw, I love you.
All
You're so
right.
sweet.
Of course. Love you. So, so we're going to move on. We're
So,
going to move to the next segment, which is called What You Watching?
what you watching?
So I thought this was going to be good in the sense of us sharing stuff because we watch a lot of stuff on TV and it's not just like, oh, this is a good show. It's stuff that makes us think and brings up conversations. And I started watching this, Pookie, but you called me and you were like, oh my God, are you watching this yet? Have you seen this yet? You were obsessed with it. And I restarted it and then rewound parts of it over and over and over. And I took notes, which for me, if I have to take notes, that means it's good. It's so good that I have to talk about it. So what like if you you want to just go like what did you love about this?
Listen, first of all, you know we're depthful people. So we don't watch things a lot of ways as most people do, which is why we connect on so many different levels. We're always looking at the underlying message or what someone's actually trying to portray or inspire or
Yeah.
teach, or just that for us is a really big deal. When I saw this, I didn't know what to expect. I turned it on. I was like, all right, let's watch. I love both of them. So I was like, this is a win-win. I love them. And I was just shocked. I was with Viola's story, with her strength, the things that she had to endure in her life, not only the
Yeah.
poorness, but the way she describes the poorness. It's like no running water and then being freezing cold and the water's freezing your pipes and not being able to bathe and smelling like urine and
And
having to go to school.
knowing you smell.
Yeah, knowing you, she
Like
knows that she smells and
there's
not
nothing you can
being
do.
able to do anything about it. The way she describes her rats, the rats in their house biting her doll's faces and having to cover herself, her and her sisters, um, from like feeling them while they're sleeping, and the domestic violence, the sexual abuses. It's like layers on layers on layers of what this woman has had to deal with, feeling ugly, inferior, not enough.
And this was all in a 45-minute conversation. Like
It
you
was
would
so heavy, and it
it was
was
so packed. That's why I had to keep going back, rewind. I was like, wait. I want to, what was that? Like, it was very dense for 45 minutes.
I wanted to hug her. I wanted to, like, it's so insane. See, here I go. It's
Yeah.
just to hear somebody go through all that. It's so humbling. Like, you're like, man, like you don't know what people have gone through in their lives, and the struggle, which we know very well, of trying to come up on top and trying to use that trauma and convert it into strength for yourself and for your family and for your life.
And
Like,
I
that's,
think that like you and I are really good about not being complaining people. We always look to be grateful. That's who we are. But
yeah.
I sat there thinking about like I've complained about much less. Like the idea, the notion of I can't go take a shower, I rats in the like the rat the it's that was a like I get chills. That's terrifying. Hearing the rats bite the faces of my dolls while I covered my face so they wouldn't what in the horror movie? I really like that we're having a conversation with Viola Davis, who is titled the most celebrated Black artist in Oscar history, with Oprah, who is extremely obviously successful. And Oprah says to her, like, I was poor. I wasn't that poor.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't
I
that
look at
poor.
Oprah as like the, top, but you see this woman who is so composed and so fierce and so fabulous and winning and actress. And I mean, she's phenomenal. And she feels like she's still trying to figure out her meaning, her purpose, her why. And she talked about this feeling of arriving and looking for your meaning and how she just felt so lost, even though she'd done all this stuff. And Oprah asked her, like, do you think this what like the pandemic causes, and she goes, it exacerbated the feeling.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a strong, I mean, that word, right? Like, and I felt like we all felt that way. Like, I feel like in some way, shape, or form, this moment of us getting stuck at home, not being able to be around our loved ones and being kept away from civilization and being scared and people dying around us and all this stuff kept us in this place of like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I doing? Like, is this worth
Well,
it?
the noise that we're used to, that busyness that we're used to, that shuts down a lot of what we're feeling
Yep,
inside. I feel like that was a very big factor in making everyone stop and realize and
that's
kind
it.
of pay attention to whatever it is that you need to heal on the inside. And
That's it.
people don't realize the long lasting effects of a bad childhood.
Yeah.
Those are the moments where you're supposed to feel protected and loved and taken care of,
And
and
safest because you're helpless.
you're depending on the people that love you,
Yeah.
to be there for you and to provide for you and to keep you safe. And even though you can understand that, like she said, her parents did the best they could with what they had, it doesn't mean that you're not affected, and it doesn't mean that that it doesn't stick with you.
Yeah.
And for the rest of your life you're trying to figure out what's going on inside of you, and it's because your roots are rotten, which we've
Right.
talked about. You
Right.
come from something that wasn't stable, and unfortunately it's that much harder
Yeah.
to get to that place.
Yeah. And I think like that is a mature mindset. Like they did the best they could. It doesn't make it easier. That's how you cope with it. That's how you understand it. Like you understand people's limitations. And I do believe if they could have done better, they would have done better. It doesn't mean it makes it easier. But I do love her definition of forgiveness is giving
Mhm.
up the hope that the past could be any different.
That was
Hmm.
strong, because that is true. That is true. You find yourself like, what if, and if I could have had this, and if I
And
would
why
have,
was that that way? And
yeah,
why
and
did
why
I
was
have to
that
go
not
through
done,
that?
and how could this have happened? And
You already
you
went through it.
do.
You can't change it.
Yeah, and it's hard to get to that point, and and that's where I feel like forgiveness and understanding is a big part of healing, and also the removal of the expectation that just because you forgive and just because you understand doesn't mean that you have to continue a certain pattern that doesn't suit you anymore.
Yeah, not you forgive
So
for you, but you learn and you grow and you have to protect yourself. It's not,
yeah,
oh, I forgive and I'm going to let it keep happening. That
yeah,
becomes your own victim stance, and
yeah,
that's not what it is either. I did want to say I had two other bullet points of her. I love that she said that life is not a Thursday night TV show and how we get wrapped up into TV and this imagery of like I want it to look like this. And I'm a Disney obsessed person. Like I grew up in that mindset. And I mean I get criticized a lot for like, oh, you have this mindset of this fairy tale. And I'm like, yeah. And it is definitely hard to get past that, but I love that she said, accept the life that God gave us and have the bravery to forge ahead and create the life that you actually want. And then she says, you must be detailed
with
on
what you're praying
and
for. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I love that she
I
prayed for her husband exactly the way she wanted him. And that is exactly what God brought into her life. And it was like, okay, this is insane. And that's when, I think it kind of clicked for her that you do have to be
yeah,
detailed. And we've talked about it so many times before, where it's like the law of attraction, being positive, knowing what you want. I think so many times we get confused in what we really want. And we think we want something because maybe that's what we've been told that we should want,
yep,
or we're just kind of allow ourselves to get carried into, just a certain way. And we're lost because it's not really what we want. So we don't know what we're trying to attract. And it
yeah,
happens a lot.
yeah.
So it
I
was great.
agree. It's
If
really
you
good.
guys haven't seen it, please do yourselves a favor and go see it. It's so humbling. It's so, like, I swear, I just literally wanted to hug her and give her a kiss and be like, you're amazing and you're not alone. And there's so many people that need to hear these kind of stories,
Yeah,
because unfortunately, there's so much of that that's gone on that no one talks about. So you kind of feel like out on a limb by yourself. So I loved it.
Loved
I
it
think
too. I'm
it
so
was
glad
good.
we watched it. And thank you for telling me to watch it because I wanted to see it and I started and then I couldn't. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to focus because if Pookie said it was that good,
Yeah,
I
I was
literally
like,
was like with a
you need
notebook. I
to.
was like, I'm writing notes on this. Like, I loved it. So,
I
really,
was
really.
surprised you didn't finish it because I know you had told me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this, which is why. Because normally, I don't know, I'm really bad about what's on. So you're my person
Something
to
happened.
come.
I don't know what happened, but something happened that I
I don't know. You
paused it.
got because you were like, oh, I'm gonna watch this, and I was like, oh, let me watch it. And then you were like, no, I didn't watch it. I'm like, what? Go watch it.
All
So
right. So, going on to our next segment, it is time to talk about escándalo.
escándalos, which are
I need
not really
more wine
escándalos.
for escándalo.
No, yo no puedo tomar. Bueno, I'm not gonna. I shouldn't have to cry anymore. Let me see what else we're talking about. No, I think we're good.
You know
I
your
got all my.
coffee when there's no cork.
I am so sensitive and sentimental. I cannot even deal with myself sometimes.
That's okay. If you follow me
I
on
mean,
TikTok today, you'll see that we don't always have it all together. It's okay.
I mean, don't. This
So,
harshness is just exterior.
okay, so first up on the all things celebrity conversation, we're going to talk about one of our favorites, Miss.
You're slacking on this slideshow today. I'm just
Listen,
saying.
it's
I'm a,
multitasking. There's wine. There's
I expect better, Mister. Producers have such a hard job. We'll get it together, sir.
they do. I'm going to hire one. So
She
if
looks
anyone
so good.
for a job, it's a
I
volunteer
for
internship.
free. Are you bored? Give us a call.
Have nothing to do. All right, so let's talk about Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall had a article, an interview with Variety magazine, and of course, because what else would they have to talk with her about except why she wasn't in Sex in the City or and just like that? And I feel like they harped on it for the majority of the article, even though there was other things that she had to add. So I'm going to share some snippets that I thought, so I love her sass. I've loved her always, and I feel like she will always be Samantha, and I think she knows that, even though she's not playing her anymore. But I love that there's this kind of conversation, right? Like where they asked her, like, was there discussions about you returning? And she's like, oh, I was never asked to be a part. And she's reiterating that she's made her feelings clear about there not being a third movie. And then when they said they were going to do this, she was like, oh, and then they go, how's that going to work? And she goes, you said it, not me. So, very much that. I love that she says, what did you think about what Sarah Jessica Parker says? And she's like, I don't think I read it. And I was like, this girl, stop it. And then they asked her if
You
you
don't know
watched
the
it, and she
answer.
was like, well, I certainly heard about it. But with that said, I think that as much as like I love her role, like we have to let her move on and not like that's not the only thing she's ever done. She was in Mannequin. She's been an actress her whole life. Like, can we let the woman move on to other things and not make every interview come back to that? Like, let it go. So, but I
Let
did
it
love the
go.
article.
Well, I will say I do not believe that you can be an actress of her caliber for as many years as she's been and not know how to direct those kind of questions. So kudos to her for that because she knows exactly how she needs to answer.
Been there, done
Um,
that. Nothing new.
yeah, she's like, yeah, no. So one of the things that I found very interesting about the interview is that in 2017 she turned down Sex in the City 3, which is basically centered on Big's death, which we all know, or if you don't know,
Spoiler
you don't know.
alert!
Sorry, I ruined it for you. Go watch it. Um, Secrets out. Big dies.
Spoiler
Um,
alert!
and she basically a lot of the script for and just like that comes from that third movie that was never made that she turned down. Her storyline, which I have to stand behind her 100% in this decision,
Agree.
in the movie that she turned down, her storyline, Samantha's storyline, received inappropriate pictures from Brady, which is Miranda's 14-year-old son. So she was basically getting nude pictures, okay, from this kid in her script. And she said absolutely not. She's like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I stand behind her decision. I think that with the creativity that these writers have, that they've shown that they've had, something else could have been done for her. So I don't disagree with that. She
And I do feel like if they really
Samantha, she
wanted
always will
her,
love Samantha.
yeah, I feel like if they really wanted her to do the role, they would have talked to her about it and like let her take the reins on it. Not like this is what you're gonna do whether you like it or not, and it's inappropriate, but
Yeah,
we feel your character would go that way. Like she's still standing behind the role, like that's not okay. And she's been
yeah,
doing this out there craziness thing for so long. Like give it a break, give it a break. Like you know, in the '90s it was different. This show's
which
from the
is
'90s, right?
why which is why it makes sense that there was all this other back end stuff going on, because that's not logical for someone that's such a big part of something.
Like
And
why
she
wouldn't
did
you be
state
there,
in that
right? We had
interview as
that question.
well
Like how could you not?
that she had her, I believe they said her, oh God, one of her people, her publishers, somebody had an idea for the character that they shut down. So there was something else there, but I do agree that she is a wonderful actress. She actually has a new show on Hulu. It's a sitcom, How I Met Your Father. It aired January 18th and has 10 episodes. It's on there. You can catch it up now, and they did confirm a season 2. So she's already moved on. She's
And
ready to do something else.
she's in the new Queer as Folk
Yeah.
reboot also, which is going to be huge. So very excited about that too.
Yeah, the first one was like in 2000, I think it was, they said, and now they're doing another one. So that's
I
interesting
don't
too.
I don't know the year, but I will tell you it that's probably right. I will tell you Queer as Folk came out, I mean, so 2000, right? So I was like 15. And as a gay kid that, you know, you couldn't be that show. So I want to see what they do in
You're
20.
excited?
I
So
was
you're
like
excited about the next
2022. What are we going to do now? Because that show was a lot in 2000. So, anywho,
escándalo it is.
escándalo it is. Cheers to that because
Yes.
let's just do it all. I'm gonna keep cheersing. That's how I get to keep drinking.
Listen, cheers to knowing what you want and for having the bravery to stand
Yes,
up for
yes,
yourself
yes. You don't
and
have to accept
understanding
everything
that,
just because.
yeah, that inner voice inside, it screams louder than anything else that's going on around you, and kudos to listening to it, because that's not easy.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Kelly Clarkson is one of my favorite humans in the entire world, and she's been since American Idol. I'm the reason she won because I voted for her as many times as possible. I've seen her
You're
10
a
times in
stalker.
concert. I've been on stage with her. One day I'm going to talk with her about this. If you're seeing this, Kelly, hi.
She has
I'm
a
your best
picture
friend.
of you in her
No,
locker room or whatever her dressing room is. I said
no,
locker room. Her dressing room with like a big X.
no. Kelly
Stop.
would love me and Kelly would have the best interview ever. So you stop it. Okay, so I want to talk about this real quickly. I'm going to show this clip. Kelly got nominated for 9 Emmys. Her the Kelly Clarkson show got nominated for 9 Emmys. So let's show this clip real quick.
Tell you what the nominations are. You ready?
We got 9 nominations. We got 9 Emmy nominations.
Host, directing team, music direction, lighting, tech team, multiple camera angles, art direction, and live sound mix.
Oh my God! It's like our show.
Yeah, I have to tell the crew right now. Can you believe it?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Wait, what is that?
I'm going to tell you what the
Are you seeing me? Am I on?
You're on. It was the video wasn't very good. It was frozen half the time, but
Okay, I'm gonna show you again.
Congratulations.
Right from the middle.
Wait, what is that? Jason, when you were saying
Yes,
music direction.
yes.
it's so cute.
So the reason I love it, obviously, I'm super happy that the show's doing great. It was tied with The View for Emmy nominations, which is insane. The View's been on over 20 years. Kelly's in her 3rd season. Obviously, she's getting huge reviews. She's taking over Ellen's time slot. Hey, Kelly. But what I love about this video is how excited she was for Jason. Jason's her musical director who's been with her forever. And the way she responded and was like, oh, is that Jason? Like it hit her. And This is her show. This is the Kelly Clarkson show. And she's so humble and so real that she got up and ran to him and said, all your hard work, and goes, congratulations, everybody, because she understands she couldn't do it alone. And I thought that was such a beautiful clip. I'm so glad they caught it. I'm so glad they showed it. I think it's awesome. And it's a testament not only for one of the reasons why I love her so much, but it's about who we should be as good humans. Like, it's not about you winning. There's always so many pieces to the puzzle. So I loved it. So I hope you guys loved it too.
She is such a good person. She's like a girl next door. I love how simplistic she is and how wholesome she is. Like, she's just, you can literally like just hang out with her. Like, she just seems like that type of woman. And I love that she's humble. And I love that she's always talking about just the simplicity of who she is. And I love that. And that does show in her actions, the way that she treats other people, you know, the way that she treats her guests, you know, when they come to the show. Like, I'm super happy for the show. I love it. I think it deserves all of the awards that it's getting nominated for. And yay, the Kelly Clarkson show. So we're definitely
I'm gonna be on the show. I'm gonna be on this show one day. I'm gonna talk to Kelly. It's gonna happen. Mark it down. I'm prophesizing it today. What's today?
Okay.
Mayo 10. We're doing this. Okay. So
all right. I'm there. You're being specific with your prayers. I like it. That's how it's done.
It's on my list.
Yes.
So
what else is on your list?
So now we're going to talk about something that is a little heavier, but bear with us because this is worth talking about.
Not heavy, important.
Important. It is important. So
very important.
I'm going to just start with a clip. Okay. So this is a clip from
we're going to hope that the clip goes smoothly because the Kelly one wasn't. We're having internet issues apparently.
Yeah.
So
we're going to figure that out. But this is a clip of Whoopi Goldberg's response about the conversation about what's going on right now with the attempt of the Supreme Court to reverse Roe versus Wade, therefore the right to abortion. And this was her response to it. So let's take a look.
I'll tell you, this is my body. And nobody, you got people telling me I got to wear a mask or don't wear a mask or do this. Everybody wants to tell me what to do, but you won't let me make my decision about my body. You are not the person to make that decision. My doctor and myself and my child, that's who makes the decision. And one of the things I really want to point out before we go is the reason abortion came about. Women in this country lived forever with it being illegal, okay? Women, when they decide something is not right for them, they're going to take it into their own hands. Well, we got tired of tripping over women in bathrooms, public bathrooms, who were giving themselves abortions because there was nowhere safe, nowhere clean, nowhere to go. This law came about because people wanted people to have somewhere safe and somewhere clean. It has nothing to do with your religion. This is not a religious issue. This is a human issue. If you care about me as a human being, you should know three things. Getting an abortion is not easy. Making that decision is not easy. It's not something people do lightly. It's not something that you can just do. It is a hard, awful decision that people make. And if you don't have the wherewithal to understand that, to start this conversation with, I know how hard this must be for you. If you're starting it by telling me I'm going to burn in hell, then you're not looking out for me as a human being, whether I subscribe to your religion or not. And that is not okay. We will be right back.
Yeah. So she said a lot. She said a lot, and it was very serious. I was watching the show and her face changed, and I was like, oh, what's coming? Because I could see it building up. And I will say that I don't really care to dive into personal opinions on abortion. Am I there? Am I there? Sorry. I don't care to dive into like personal opinions on abortion. Like, I don't think that's really important or either of our goal or purpose. But I will say, I do agree with her overall arching point, which is we shouldn't be telling other people what to do with their body, especially from a place and a position of religion when we are in a country that says we have freedom of religion. So if we have freedom of religion and the law is being based on Christianity, then what happens if I don't believe in Christianity? So I can believe whatever I want, but I'm going to live somewhere where the laws are based on what you believe. And that's problematic, and that's an issue. Did you want to add anything on that?
Well, I mean, absolutely. As a woman, it's like, it's my decision, it's my body. It's very frustrating and infuriating that women take 10 steps forward, in what our freedoms are. And then it's like they want to peel them back. I think she made a very important statement, which is the health part of it and the risk and how dangerous it is. Because she's absolutely right. If a woman feels like this is her only option and this is the option that she needs to take, she is going to find a way to get it done. And it may not be the best in her interest. It may not be the safest. And that's scary. It is scary to feel that we live in a country that is based on freedom, and that we still, in so many different aspects of our life, have to deal with that being challenged in some way, shape, or form. So, I did hear in the news today, actually, that vasectomies are skyrocketing. Like the search for vasectomies are skyrocketing on the news. They were saying that. And that's all fine and dandy, but I don't think it needs to be one or the other. I think everyone needs to assume responsibility over themselves, over their body, and handle it how they see fit. And the funny thing is that a lot of these people, I don't want to generalize, and that I'm not into politics, so this is just my observation aside from any of that. A lot of the people that are against abortions are also against birth control. So as a woman, I'm thinking, what do I do? If it's in your eyes, what do you feel is acceptable? Because if you're telling me that birth control, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, give me something to work with here, like I don't understand it. But anyways, it is a very big discussion. It's something that unfortunately, neither you nor I can control. But I do agree that everyone should have their right over their own body.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that one of the things she said is a lot of the people that are on the same side of this argument were the same people saying, I don't want to wear a mask in your store. It's my face. It's my right. So this is the bigger conversation, the hypocrisy of when it's convenient, we can talk about it's my body, it's my right. But when we want to talk about abortion as an example, well, it's not your right, it's our right to control you. This can't be it can't be this way. And so,
but that happens a lot. That's going to lead us to the next thing, is the hypocrisy that we deal with on a daily basis.
Right. So the next thing so Sunny, who is another person on The View, who I actually like a lot. I like her a lot. I think she's very smart. She's she's been in the legal world a lot. And one of the things she said was that her personal opinion as a Catholic woman is that abortion is not okay. However, when she was reading the law, she felt like she was disappointed in our legal system because a lot of the verbiage had to do with religion. And she said, as much as I personally do not agree with abortion, I don't want my religious belief being imposed on you. So Sunny, on that, at the end of the day, am I back? I know the signal falls. So Sunny understands that if this is my belief, then that's what I do, right? So if I don't agree with it, then I don't get one. So I don't want to put that on you. That's how she believes. That's what she believes. But then let's fast forward to a completely different topic just to make a point. So let's watch this next clip.
I know this may be a novel point, a novel idea for somebody who's, a supporter of Trump, but there are people who are capable of being related and not having ethical interests.
There's many things that I don't stand by that Trump did. Trump has done things that are racist. I'm a black woman first, so always understand that. But I do say that I have many conservative values that I will talk to you about. And so if you look at your network that you're standing behind, yes, and when you look at your network that you're standing behind, you're saying that you look at Chris Cuomo.
I feel like that's an oxymoron, a black Republican.
You feel like it's an oxymoron?
I do.
Why? Your friend right here is a Republican.
We had this conversation.
You do, and you say you feel like it's an oxymoron that you're Catholic, but you also are pro-life.
I don't understand either.
No, you don't understand yourself. Then you have disagreements.
I understand myself. I don't understand either of this.
But it's not.
You don't understand yourself, Mama.
Ish.
I love
and
that.
So, as I was watching that, because I went through all the emotions, my first emotion was like, yeah, I get her, because I think that I think what Sunny means to say is that in our current world, because of a lot of the things that have happened in the Republican Party, she doesn't understand associating with those people who did those things. Fine. That would have been better if she said it that way, if that's what she meant. I'm speaking for her. But the issue I have is she's doing the opposite of what she said a moment ago in a different statement. She's literally telling somebody, you are wrong for being Republican. So you just said you don't want to impose your beliefs on somebody else. And now you're literally sitting at the table a different day, imposing your beliefs on them, saying that if you're Black or Latina, you have to be a Democrat. And again, it isn't about my belief. It's about why are you talking to somebody else that way? And the way that lady clapped back and she was like, well, you're an oxymoron because you're a Catholic and you're pro-life. That's literally the definition of an oxymoron. She's literally like, your belief, your religious fundamental belief is against this, but you're supporting the law because you understand not to impose. But I'm wrong for being part of a party that you don't agree with. Look, all of this to say, we have to stop this kind of behavior and conversation. Look, me and Pookie, like, we don't agree on a lot of things. Like,
we don't agree more than we do agree.
So much.
Believe it or not.
So much. And one of the things I will say is that I love debating. You guys will get to see it eventually. I love debating. I think it's fun. It's exciting. I love to hear different points of view. But here's the thing. We never disrespect each other. It's never like, oh, well, you're stupid for believing that. Like, no, it's not a personal attack or you're wrong or I believe this, you believe that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to share ideas in a respectable format. And a show like The View, which is very respected, was created to have women at the table sharing different points of views. And every time a strong Republican figure is in that chair, it's like they're attacked. And as much as I may disagree with certain beliefs of the Republican Party, why are you inviting them to the table if all you're going to do is attack them? Then don't invite them to the conversation. Then make the show a democratic show, and that's all that you want. But you're positioning yourself, and I love the show. This is not harping against the show. I actually love it. But that's not what it was created in its essence for. And I think it creates a bigger problem because this is what people are doing in life. We grew up in a world, me and Pookie, we grew up, I mean, Pookie, you said it all the time. You grew up and we were told, like, we don't really talk about politics or religion because we don't want to offend people. And your neighbor could believe in a completely different thing, but we could still have dinner. And at some point, that stopped.
That changed.
And people felt like if you're not on the same page as me, then I can't talk to you. People deleting family members because of who they voted for. Guys, that's, I mean,
it's insane.
I believe, but like, what? Like, you do what? That's the whole point of freedom. You vote for whoever you want. I don't agree with not voting.
Yeah.
But if you're voting for a different person, that's your choice. Like, I may not agree with you, but we have to be able to break bread, meaning have dinner, have conversations. We have to be able to connect with people that are on a completely different page as us on our belief spectrum. It makes us better people.
Well, whatever happened to just agreeing to disagree? Like, we talk about things, we don't agree with it. You explain your side, I explain mine. We understand each other. Even if you don't agree with someone, you can still understand where they're coming from. Yeah. That's just, putting yourself in the position of why this person thinks the way that they think. And you can be like, listen, you know what? I get what you're saying. I understand that point you're making, and it's a valid point, but I don't agree with it. And that's okay. So I do feel that that is something that we struggle with tremendously across the board. It's like my way or the highway. My opinion is the law. It's no longer an opinion. It's what needs to be. And that divides a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that is what has us divided. They want to blame it on presidency. They want to blame it on all this crazy other stuff that's going on. That's fine. But you're allowing one person or a group of people to take over something that we should already try to implement ourselves, to be like, well, wait a minute. When do you take accountability for your place in the way that everything's going?
And what's worse is that people are missing out on the benefit of talking to people with different ideas and different cultural backgrounds and different mindsets and different. You want people to understand you, but you're not willing to talk to people outside of your group. So if you're only talking to the people who agree with you, then you're really not helping your group be understood.
Well, you're not learning either. We have to learn.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I can't understand the struggle that women go through unless I take the time to listen to women.
Yeah.
You can't understand exactly the struggle that a gay man goes through unless you take the time to talk to them. So with that said, again, people, I would love to encourage this one thought today, which is open up the table to people who are different than you, think different than you, vote different than you, come from different places than you, have different religions than you, or no religion, and just have conversations respectfully. And just, even if you disagree completely, be like,
listen,
I never knew that mindset existed. Even if you're not going to subscribe to it, that's okay. But just like, I understood that person for who they were and what they stand on. And I think it's important. So
definitely so. Speaking on mental and what's on our mind and you know, thinking differently, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're swapping subjects. We've said what we're going to say about that.
Moving right along.
And you know, every month it's an awareness for something, you know, an illness, some sort of you know, fundraising going on. There's a cause, there's all of these things that we want to be able to shine light on and to kind of just encourage again, understanding, awareness, and just education. If you don't know about it, just look it up. So one of the things that I saw that I really wanted to talk about that I thought was so good is the mental health of our vets. It's such an underserved I mean, this is something that everybody knows. Like, vets are just, unfortunately, they go under the radar. They don't get the help that they need. They get dropped after a while because they feel like they've helped them enough. And I saw on, I don't remember where I saw this. I want to say I saw it on either the Drew Barrymore show.
I think so.
I think it was Drew Barrymore show where they have pinup for vets. So basically what that is, it is a calendar. Yeah, please, if you're looking for a production job. So pinup for vets. This is a calendar that is inspired by the pinup era. And what they do is that they sell these calendars as a part of fundraising for the vets. And what they do is that they donate funds to the VA's hospitals for medical equipment, program expansions. They help do personal bedside visits and deliver like gift baskets. It supports the homeless veterans with clothing and stuff like that. And just basically overall boost the morale for the deployed troops as well. This calendar has been featured everywhere, like NBC, CBS, Fox News, People, Daily Mail, Forbes, everywhere. But what I love about it the most is that the women that are featured on this calendar are actual vets. And I think it's so awesome because it also helps boost their self-esteem, their femininity, like, you know, just feeling like they're more than just war heroes. And I love it. I love everything about this. I thought they're so cute. They're so beautiful, as far and brave. And thank you for serving our country.
Absolutely.
So this is a wonderful way of supporting our vets. You can go into the website and just either purchase a calendar or you can just donate. And I thought that was awesome.
And what we'll do is in the bio, when we post this video, we'll put the link so you guys can just click it if it is.
Yeah, just click on it and you know, take a look at it. I thought it was something that was definitely worth mentioning. So the next thing that I saw that it was really, really cool is Happy to Chat benches. So this is so cute. This one I did for sure see in the Drew Barrymore. I think the pinups was in the Kelly Clarkson. I don't know, guys. I saw it somewhere, but it was so cute. Anyway, so the Happy to Chat benches originated in Cardiff, UK. And it's basically, they saw an elder man like sitting alone on a bench and people were just walking back and forth and not paying any attention to him. So this lady decided, like, you know what? I'm going to create a little sign to go on a bench that says Happy to Chat. So whenever you see someone sitting there, you know that they're looking for maybe someone to come and talk to them. and it's taken off. And our senior citizens, like all over the world, are loving this. They literally sit there and people just come and talk to them. And I think it's so cool. It's being replicated. It's in Canada, Australia, Switzerland, Ukraine has it, and even the United States. Jersey has 5 benches up. And I think that's so cool. I think it's so nice to be able to just have, have someone to sit down and chat with for a few minutes. And you don't know the impact that that can have. There's a lot of elderly people that are feeling lonely. They don't have family nearby. After the pandemic just made it worse. So I think this is awesome and worth shining a light on.
I think it's really beautiful, and I'm so glad you shared it. And that's why I love this, because there's things you're going to see that I haven't seen. And I know you mentioned the elderly, but there's a lot of people in all ages that feel completely isolated, completely alone. And, I work with a lot of people coming in and out in my day. And sometimes I get into these conversations and people are like, man, you had like a whole conversation with that client. And I'm like, yeah, people just need people. Like, people just really need to connect and talk. And so I think it's really special, and I really hope they do some here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if they do anywhere near me, I'm gonna go do it. I would love to.
They're gonna have to kick you off the bench, like, sir, give somebody else a chance to sit down and chat. But it is, it's awesome. It's wonderful, and I'm glad that hopefully we can get some down here too.
I agree. So with that said, it's time to wind it down, because
we've been winding it down since we started, but yeah, for real this time.
I mean, it's you're allowed to wind it down. So if you have a glass, raise it. We love doing this. We love chit-chatting. And lately, I really like wine on Tuesdays. But I wanted to end on a happy nota. So I wanted to share something real quickly here, and just share this mindset of, I said it at the beginning of our talk today, like, I really do struggle with slowing down. I struggle with relaxing. I struggle with the idea of, if I'm not moving my body, doing something, then I am being unproductive. And I feel really confused my own mind, the difference between busy and rest. And I forced myself to be busy, because if I'm resting, then again, it's a negative thing. And I just really do struggle with this. And I've talked to a couple people recently this week, and a lot of people who I know who are busy people feel the same way. And so I wanted to really share it, so that, if you're feeling that way, like, you're not alone, number one. And number two, you owe it to yourself to take a beat, to take a moment, to take a rest. You have to fill your cup. You have to rest and regenerate. If your cup is not full, how are you going to help anybody else? And so I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to work on allowing myself the ability to just be still and be calm. And Pookie, I love that you told me the other day, you're like, sometimes it's just that we think we need extreme things, right? Like, I have to have a whole day. But what if it's just 20 minutes by the pool, or 20 minutes praying, or whatever? There's so many different versions of it that you can sprinkle in. It doesn't have to be in a whole week off. I mean, I'll take a whole week off these days, but or two.
Yes. But I agree with you. And I think a lot of us do struggle with that. We're so busy, and our calendars and agendas are so full all the time, that when you do take that beat and you're like relaxing, you almost feel like there's something else I should be doing with my time.
Yeah.
So it feels very like, just off for a lot of people. Like, I think we all feel that way, and it's not good. I think that's why there's so many people that are depressed and feel bad, and just because you're always just running around like a crazy person.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So we're encouraging you to take a beat.
Just take a rest, take a bubble bath, go for a walk, sit on the couch and watch a good movie, call a friend and just, relax. Like, it's okay. Whatever needs to get done will get done. Like, it's okay.
It's okay.
So with that being said, guys, this is a wrap for our second show, which has been super exciting. And this is a little bit more of the normal kind of things that, we wanted to talk about. We appreciate you guys so, so much for joining us. Now go out and find your tribe, find your people. Life is better when we do it together. Thanks again for tuning in and for spending some time with people like us.